No, you could just send the call, right?
Okay, so hopefully this is picking up where we left off. That call was great. Did you hear? I tried to kind of condense this in that call.
Yeah.
Because if you were to take this part where I described this out of that call, probably 2 to 3, maybe 5 minutes I touched on it, maybe 10 if you count the story for the Portland, Oregon lady. You like how I wove that story in there and you hear how she reacted to it? And I asked her, are you sitting in front of a computer? Google this. Telling people what to do, you take control of the conversation versus, hey, if you get a chance, maybe you might want to do this versus, are you sitting in front of a computer? Google this. I want you to see firsthand what I'm telling you in full circle because you want the clients to see that because when you're telling them the difference between a dispute letter approach, which I'm going to finish describing, and then the pre-litigation approach that we use, and then you show them a real story on their end that you have no way of manipulating. I could easily send links of stories that I found that make my story seem more legit, but what beats them doing it themselves on their own? Google this and wow, what pops up? A story about the Fair Credit Reporting Act and how the creditor messed up and the credit bureaus didn't remove it and they had to pay an $18 million fine. This is huge, especially when you're describing the difference. So you see the value in that story, and that's just one story of many. But at the end of the day, the credit bureaus ultimately are the ones that are liable. And that's the key to remember that in your pitch.
Yeah, for sure.
The reason we threaten the creditors, I said this, is we want to present you, the client, to the creditor as a legal and viable threat, as a savvy client. So that's where that was at in the story. But let's get back to this. So let's get back to this. Because that was an hour of my life I won't get back. And right now, where is she at? She thinks it's being analyzed. She's going to talk to her husband tonight. I don't need to run in and forward it. I have a little time here because I know this one isn't going to be closed today. She's got to talk to her husband. And even though she's talking like they have all this money, big money, money's a concern. You could hear it, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to pay all this money. What if? What if? You know what I mean? So reassuring her that I didn't drop the rate. I could have easily said, well, what if we get a lower rate? You know what I mean? I could easily say that.
You know
but
that she can afford it.
I let her know that we could possibly split it up into payments. And why did I say we could split it up into payments? Because Ken is one of our VIP referral partners. So I made her feel that the splitting up of the payments wasn't something we do for everybody. We did it because you found us through Ken. See? So these are things that I knowingly did. But the effect was, we're going to do something special for you because of who sent you to us. Why? Because I want her to stick with Ken. Ken's my referral source. She could go with this lady that pulled her credit and do the loan with her. And even though I wasn't afraid to say you shouldn't work with Ken, I said Ken's great many times, and I'd be shocked if Ken couldn't get you approved with these scores, but if he can't, you should find another lender because that's how confident I am in Ken and in us. So that kind of stuff is intentional, even though it sounded like I was just like, oh wow, you should work with them. I've said that many a time. And why? Because you want her confidence in Ken to be high, and it in turn shows that you have confidence in yourself and your product. And that's
catch their attention like that too. They're like, wait, what?
He just said, wait a second, the guy that referred me to him just said I shouldn't work with him.
It opens both ears. Now
she's like,
really
whoa, okay, wow, that's good to hear. He's going to tell me not work with Ken if Ken can be done because that's how confident he is.
But your follow-up, yeah. Man.
So don't be afraid to say that. And don't worry, Ken, she's not going to disappear on Ken. You know what I mean? But if really Ken can't get a 720 loan approved, what kind of...
Did she say that he couldn't get...
She said, well, what if we do this with you and spend all this money and we get to 720 and Ken can't even get the loan approved?
Great. Yeah.
So I did two things. Well, two things that were really important for you both all to notice is I said, well, whoa, if that's the case, you shouldn't work with that guy because he would, I said he would suck as a lender because anybody that's decent at their job, and I know Ken is, could get that done. But let me tell you the other benefits that come of having your score jump 70 to 100 points. Lower interest rates on future car loans, the next purchase. It's a win-win all the way around. You're going to save, this is insignificant the amount of money we charge to what it benefits you and all the interest savings. The features and benefits in anything you're selling, whether it's a chair or a desk or credit or a car, there's always a feature and a benefit. You know what I mean? You spend $2,000 on a desk versus a $300 one you get at IKEA. What's the feature and benefit? Why would I spend $2,000 when this one performs the same function? We'll move this one once and see how it looks. Move the one that costs $2,000 10 times and see how it looks. You know what I mean? So in the long run, you might buy 3 desks in 10 years that IKEA, you know what I mean, for $300, and you buy one for $2,000. And in 10 years, that one is still looking good, where you've gotten rid of those 3 and you're still looking for more. So it's that whole, everybody wants to save money, they don't look at the value. So features and benefits in credit it's not just helping you with this one transaction, it's not just helping you get approved for the loan. Don't look at this expense that you're paying for just that one approval, because the benefit to you in the long run is overall benefit. You're gonna qualify for lines of credit, they're gonna give you credit line increases that you couldn't get. You're gonna qualify for credit cards that you would have been turned down for. The next car loan you do, you're gonna get a lower interest rate. All of that comes back.
I like your, you only get one social. I think that one.
Yeah, I didn't use that one yet. I didn't use it on her, but I could have threw in another. I've got all these analogies.
Heart surgeon.
Yeah. So the credit, back to this, the dispute letter approach is this. So I started on it. Here's how you dispute stuff. You, the client, go to the credit bureaus and you send in a letter. Usually we call it a cookie cutter form letter. So remember those words because I use them a lot on my calls. You send in a letter to the credit bureau saying, hey, these accounts, I don't recognize these accounts. Prove they're mine. I moved. My dog ate my bill. This isn't mine. The credit bureaus, because that law says they have to investigate an account when requested, the credit bureaus send a request over to the creditor, from the credit bureaus to the creditor, and they ask the creditor to what? Verify the account, right? What did I say? How long is the timer?
30 days.
30 days. 30-day timer starts here. So the 30-day timer starts here when the credit bureaus ask the creditor to verify the account. Now the creditor has 30 days to what? Verify 2 things. The account really belongs to the client and prove they reported it to the credit bureaus according to this law. Okay. Credit bureaus respond. There's actually 4 things that happen right here.
What are they?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over them. Natalie better know, she's been here long enough. Hold on, let me get to them because I'm actually gonna make you do this. All right, so there's 4 possible outcomes, yep. I said one of them, so they could respond, right? There's a couple different types of responses. So what's one?
The negative item gets deleted.
How? They respond how? When you say that, what do you mean?
Well, they remove the item that
Who's
within
that?
the credit bureaus remove them.
So credit bureaus remove
So
the
within
item.
the 30 days, if they aren't able to prove that it's yours, they'll delete it, either delete it or update it with changes or
Okay,
update.
she's getting there kind of. This is good. You're a little rusty, but much better than most people have been here a week. There's 4 specific types of responses that are outcomes. She nailed that one. I like that better. 4 types of outcomes. They can respond with proof. This is one of them. Which means what? They prove it's your account. So let's say you missed your Macy's payment, right? They respond and verify that you really did miss your Macy's payment, Sierra, and they verify they do it within 30 days. Remember this. I'll wait for you.
Me?
Yeah. You're doing something.
I was looking for the 4 that I wrote
Just
down.
write them down.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. The best way to commit anything to memory is just keep writing it down. Like, I hate telling the story, especially when I'm on camera, but in high school, there was this really important test that I was going to take, and I didn't prepare for it. So I'm going to cheat. And I had this little tiny piece of paper. I'm writing as many answers as I can on it. A little tiny piece of paper, right? Both sides. I was like, yes, I'm going to nail this test because it's make or break it time for me, right? My grades aren't that good. Put it in my pocket, and guess what I never did? I never pulled it out of my pocket. And I aced the test because I had written down all of that information right before the test. I had committed it to memory. So I'm not telling you that story because I'm proud of it, because I'm not. But I am happy to tell that story that I never cheated. I thought about cheating.
So I studied really hard.
Yeah, and it's funny how it worked, because I remember after the test going, oh my God, I never even used that through that. And if I'd been caught, I probably would have got an F. So I was happy I didn't. But anyway, so writing things down is important because you'll get this. You guys will get this and it'll be immediate to you. And you want to know this stuff because you want to tell the client with confidence. There's 4 outcomes whenever the creditor sends a request over to the credit bureau send a request to the creditor. One of them is the creditor could respond with proof in 30 days and verify the account, right? which means it's gonna stay on your credit report, okay? What's another one now?
They can respond
Yeah,
with updates.
yes.
Hola, Mirna.
Okay,
Hola, ¿cómo está?
so let me tell you what that one means. So the difference between this one and this one is, example would be, let's say a client had a car loan that they had 7 late payments on. And we go, wait a second, verify these 7 late payments really happened and verify that you reported this to the credit bureaus correctly. Now the credit bureau send a request over, guess what the creditor sends back? You know what, we looked into this account, the client didn't miss 7 car payments, they missed 8. Here's proof. And they're gonna update that account with a new late payment, or vice versa. Maybe they reported 6 of them wrong, but 1 of them was correct. So now the client's report goes from 7 late payments down to 1. It's still a bad account, so it's not a win. Because we only have, these 2 are both not good outcomes. Because guess what? This one, they verified the account's accurate. This one, you know what? They changed it, but it's still negative. Now what's another one? You guys should know this one because we talked about it. Remember this. What would another helpful one?
They don't respond in the loophole.
Don't respond at all. So no response, which causes what, Sierra?
The item to be deleted.
Yep. And who deletes anything off the credit report? Do the creditors have anything to do with deleting stuff, or do the credit bureaus only do it?
Credit bureaus?
Only the credit bureaus delete stuff. So remember that. These guys report information, they record and receive it. So the credit bureaus delete stuff. Only. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the credit bureaus are the ones that are liable for anything. They're the ones that have control over deleting it. Like I told her, we can't guarantee you're going to be approved. I could have gone further with that statement, but this was already an hour-long call. I can't guarantee any outcome here, because who am I not? Who's American Credit not? American Credit is not the credit bureaus, who ultimately, at the end of the day, are the ones that decide what's reported, what's verified, and what isn't, what's removed, and what isn't. So remember that. So this is one, there's one more. You know what it is?
Delete.
Yeah. Respond with mistake. With
Error.
error, yeah. What that means is the creditor, if that, let's say you sent in we sent a dispute to the credit bureaus saying, hey, I don't recognize this Macy's account that's in collections. I don't think I ever had a Macy's account. The creditor looks up the account, they go, oh, you're right. You know what, this client's never had a Macy's account. Totally wrong client, please delete it. So the creditor will tell the credit bureaus to delete something if they see in their system that it's a mistake. So we call it with error or with deletion request. So like I said before, the credit bureaus are the only ones that delete stuff, but the creditors do make mistakes. And so rather than these 3 things happening, which is your account, it's verified as accurate, it's your account, but you know what, instead of 8 payments, you got 9 late payments, or they don't respond in 30 days, but let's say they look it up and, oh wow, this is a total mistake. Sierra has the same exact name as somebody, but the social's off by a few digits, so we messed up. Here's a respond request to remove it. And that's how items will get deleted in less than 45 days time. So write down the 45-day time is important you stick to. Don't start telling people they can see results in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, because it rarely happens. It will happen if there's a mistake and the creditor tells the bureaus that, hey, we looked this one up, it's a total mistake, delete it. So that's how you get things deleted quick. Actually, my oldest sister, Vanessa, enrolled with us, and in 2 weeks, we'd already deleted a repo for her. And I was kind of shocked, but then I remembered this possibility. Maybe it was truly found to be a mistake, or maybe the creditor realizes they made a mistake in how they reported it. And it really belongs to the client, but rather than admitting fault and opening themselves up to liability from the client being sued, they just told the bureaus, just remove it. So here's another example. The creditors, if they've gotten their money, don't really care too much about your credit. What do they care if you got a $1,000 collection you paid off 3 years ago still sitting around on your credit? Most of the time they don't respond in 30 days because they've gotten their money and the client is just trying to get the mark removed. So when you threaten the creditor, like I'm going to go into next, this is just a dispute letter, they're less likely to respond in 30 days because they got their money or they don't want to deal with a lawsuit from the client.
It's not worth it to them.
So a dispute letter approach, this is step 1. going to the credit bureaus. This is a dispute letter approach only. The next one we do is ours. Second step is the credit bureaus send a request to the creditor, starting the 30-day timer. The third approach is one of these four things happens and they respond. When either they don't respond or they respond. And then the fourth one and the final one in the dispute letter approach is the credit bureaus update the client. Update the client with results. Okay, so this is the fourth and final one in a four-step dispute letter approach. Okay, and I'm going to leave all this up here because I can go into our approach with just changing a few things. Let's get rid of this. We all know they're the retention centers for information, right? We know their names. Should. We know they record and receive info. Okay. This is the fifth step in our approach, second, third. This is actually the second step.